She froze mid-step when she saw him across the street, watching, waiting, smiling like he still owned her. Panic hit, instinct took over, and she grabbed the nearest man's hand. What she didn't know was that the stranger she chose was far more dangerous than the ex she was running from, and now there was no going back. If this story pulled you in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. I've got another unforgettable story dropping tomorrow. And while you're here, jump into the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing our community from all around the world. All right, let's get back into it. The smell of rain on asphalt mixed with expensive leather and exhaust fumes as Bella Simon pushed through the glass doors of the downtown fundraiser. Her yellow silk dress clung to her like a spotlight she couldn't turn off. The deep V-neck and thigh-high slit drawing eyes she didn't want. Her silver heels clicked against wet pavement with each step too loud, too sharp, too exposed in the late-night silence between passing cars. 3 blocks to the parking garage. Bella kept her pace steady, her clutch pressed against her ribs. The fundraiser had run long, and now the streets felt emptier than they should have. Streetlights reflected off puddles and streaks of gold and white, blurring her vision as she scanned doorways and side streets out of habit. Just keep moving. Her chest tightened before her mind registered why. That familiar prickle at the base of her neck, the one that had kept her alive during 2 years with Ruben Bruno. The one that warned her when his mood was shifting. When his voice got too quiet. When leaving meant more danger than staying. She forced herself to breathe evenly, her fingers tightening around her clutch. 2 years free, and her body still remembered, still anticipated, still prepared for impact. A car passed, headlights sweeping across the storefronts. In the brief illumination, Bella saw him, Ruben, across the street, hands in his coat pockets, watching her the way he always had, like something that belonged to him had wandered too far from home. Her stomach dropped. The parking garage was still 2 blocks away, too far. There were people on the sidewalk ahead, a couple walking arm in arm, a man in a black suit checking his phone, but no one close enough to move. Don't freeze. Freezing is what he wants. Ruben's silhouette shifted. He was going to cross the street. In 30 seconds, he'd be standing in front of her, smiling that reasonable smile, speaking in that measured tone that made her sound hysterical for being afraid. He'd ask how she'd been, comment on her dress, suggest they talk somewhere private, and she'd be right back where she started. Bella's throat constricted, her pulse hammered against her collarbone. She could turn around, go back into the fundraiser, but Ruben would wait. He was good at waiting. Patient in the way predators are patient. The man in the black suit was 20 feet ahead, still focused on his phone, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair styled back and tattoos visible at his neck, intricate ink that disappeared beneath his collar. More tattoos covered the back of his hand holding the phone, dark lines against pale skin. Bella didn't think. Thinking meant paralysis. Paralysis meant Ruben would close the distance, and once he was close enough to touch her, she'd remember how good he was at making her doubt her own instincts. She closed the gap in 4 quick steps and grabbed the stranger's hand. The man stopped mid-stride, his head turned slowly, dark eyes dropping to where her fingers had locked around his. Bella's breath caught. Up close, she could see the sharp line of his jaw, the controlled stillness in his posture, the way his gaze moved from their joined hands to her face with the precision of someone assessing a threat. She waited for him to pull away, to demand an explanation, to shake her off like she was unstable. He did none of those things. His fingers shifted just slightly and then closed around hers. Firm, deliberate, anchoring. The air between them changed. Bella couldn't name it, but she felt it in her bones. The way sound seemed to dull, the way the city lights blurred at the edges, the way this stranger's presence suddenly felt like a wall between her and everything else. Across the street, Ruben had stepped off the curb. He was halfway across when he saw them, saw Bella's hand in the stranger's, saw the way the tattooed man had turned slightly, positioning himself between her and the street without breaking eye contact with her. Ruben stopped. For the first time in 2 years, Bella watched Ruben Bruno hesitate. The stranger didn't look at Ruben, didn't acknowledge the threat at all. His dark eyes stayed on Bella, reading something in her expression that made his grip tighten fractionally. "Walk with me," he said. His voice was low, controlled, carrying an authority that wasn't loud but absolute. Not a question, not a command, something in between that left no room for argument. Bella nodded. They started walking. The stranger's stride was measured, unhurried, as if they'd been walking together all along, as if this was planned. as if Bella hadn't just grabbed a complete stranger's hand in the middle of a downtown street out of sheer desperation. Behind them, Bella felt Ruben's gaze burning into her back. She didn't turn around, didn't check to see if he was following. The stranger's hand in hers was steady, grounding, and for the first time in months, she let someone else carry the weight of awareness. They walked half a block in silence. "He's still watching," the stranger said quietly. Bella's breath shuddered. "I know. Does he usually follow you?" The question was casual, almost conversational, but there was something beneath it, something sharp and assessing. "Sometimes," Bella admitted. "Not always. Just when he thinks I've forgotten about him." The stranger's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "And have you?" "No." They reached the corner. The parking garage entrance was visible now, a concrete mouth lit by fluorescent lights. Bella expected the stranger to release her hand, to make some polite exit now that the immediate danger had passed. He didn't. Instead, he guided her past the parking garage entrance and toward a sleek black car idling at the curb. A younger man stood beside it, dark jacket, lean build, watchful eyes that tracked their approach with the alertness of someone trained to notice everything. The younger man's gaze flicked to their joined hands, then to the stranger's face. Whatever he saw there made him straighten and move to open the rear door without a word. "Get in," the stranger said. Bella hesitated. Every instinct that had screamed at her to grab this man's hand was now screaming something different, something she couldn't quite decipher. The stranger seemed to sense her reluctance. He released her hand finally and stepped back, giving her space. "He's across the street," he said calmly, "watching to see what you'll do. If you go to your car alone, he'll approach. If you get in mine, he won't." Bella's heart hammered. "Why?" The stranger's dark eyes held hers. "Because he doesn't know who I am yet, but he's trying to decide if he should find out." A pause. Then, quieter. "I'm giving you a choice. Take it or don't." Bella looked past him. Across the street, partially hidden by a streetlight, Ruben stood watching, waiting. She got in the car. The stranger slid in beside her. The door closed. The younger man returned to the driver's seat, and the car pulled smoothly away from the curb. It wasn't until they'd driven 3 blocks that Bella realized she still didn't know the stranger's name. The interior of the car smelled like leather and something else, something clean and expensive that Bella couldn't identify. The younger man drove with practiced efficiency, navigating downtown streets without needing directions. In the back seat, silence stretched between Bella and the stranger who'd just pulled her into his world without asking permission. She should feel afraid. She knew that logically. She'd just gotten into a car with 2 men she didn't know, driven by panic and the desperate need to escape Ruben's orbit. But fear had a specific texture, sharp, acidic, suffocating, and this wasn't it. This felt like suspension. Like the moment between lightning and thunder when the world holds its breath. "Where are we going?" Bella finally asked, her voice steadier than she expected. The stranger didn't turn his head. He was watching the side mirror, tracking something behind them with the same controlled awareness he'd shown on the street. "Somewhere he can't follow," he said simply. Bella's fingers tightened around her clutch. "You don't even know who he is." "I know enough." His gaze shifted to her, dark and assessing. "Ex-boyfriend, controlling type, doesn't respect boundaries, tracks your movements, makes you feel like running is more dangerous than staying." Each word landed like a stone in still water, rippling outward into truths Bella had never spoken aloud. Her throat constricted. I've seen men like him before." The stranger's tone was matter-of-fact, clinical. "They wear expensive suits and smile at the right people, and everyone thinks they're reasonable, successful, a little intense maybe, but harmless." He turned fully toward her now, and Bella felt the weight of his complete attention. "But you know better. You've seen what happens when doors close and witnesses leave, when his voice gets quiet instead of loud, when he makes you feel crazy for being afraid of someone who's never technically done anything wrong." Bella's breath caught. 2 years of trying to explain Ruben to friends who didn't understand, to herself in the mirror at 3 a.m., and this stranger had just articulated it in 30 seconds. "Who are you?" she whispered. The corner of his mouth lifted, not quite a smile, more like acknowledgement of a fair question. "Leandro," he said. "And you don't need to tell me your name." Not yet, but Bella found herself answering anyway. Bella Simon." Leandro nodded once, as if filing the information away. Then he returned his attention to the side mirror. They'd been driving for 6 minutes, taking seemingly random turns through downtown, and Bella realized with a start that they were being deliberately evasive. "Is he following us?" she asked. He was. 2 blocks back, silver Audi. He dropped off when we turned on 5th. The casual certainty in Leandro's voice sent a chill down Bella's spine. He'd been tracking Ruben's movements the entire time, monitoring the threat without ever appearing concerned. The car turned into an underground parking structure, upscale, well lit, with security cameras visible at regular intervals. The younger driver pulled into a spot near the elevator and killed the engine. "Give it 5 minutes," Leandro said to the driver, who nodded and pulled out his phone, settling in to wait. Leandro opened his door and stepped out, then turned back to offer Bella his hand. She stared at it for a heartbeat, the same hand she'd grabbed in desperation 20 minutes ago, now extended in invitation rather than emergency. She took it. The parking garage was quiet, except for the distant hum of ventilation and the echo of their footsteps. Leandro led her to a concrete pillar near the elevator, positioned so they could see the entrance ramp, but remain partially hidden from view. "We wait here," he said, releasing her hand. "If he followed us in, we'll know in the next 3 minutes." Bella leaned against the pillar, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline that had carried her through the last half hour was ebbing, leaving behind a trembling awareness of how completely her night had derailed. "You do this often?" she asked, aiming for lightness and missing. "Protect strangers from their exes?" Leandro's expression didn't change. "No." "Then why?" "Because you grabbed my hand." He said it like it was obvious. Like that explained everything. "And because when I looked at you, I saw someone making a choice between bad options. Figured I could be a better option." Bella studied him in the fluorescent light. Up close, without the urgency of escape, she could see details she'd missed before. The tattoos at his neck were intricate geometric patterns that suggested discipline, not rebellion. His suit was expensive but understated, tailored to accommodate his broad shoulders without calling attention to itself. Everything about him suggested control, precision, power held in careful restraint. "Most people would have pulled away," she said quietly, asked questions, made a scene. "I'm not most people." The simple statement carried weight Bella didn't fully understand, but she was starting to suspect that grabbing Leandro's hand hadn't been random chance. There was something about him, something in the way people moved around him, the way the driver had responded without needing orders, the way Ruben had hesitated that spoke to influence beyond what was visible. 3 minutes, Leandro said, checking his watch. No silver Audi. He didn't follow. Relief flooded through Bella so quickly it made her dizzy. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply, trying to slow her racing heart. When she opened them again, Leandro was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "He'll try again," he said, not cruelly, just factually. "Men like him don't stop because you avoided them once." Bella's jaw tightened. "I know. Do you have somewhere safe to go tonight?" She thought of her apartment, the locks she'd changed twice, the security system Ruben had probably figured out how to bypass, the windows that faced the street where he liked to park and wait. "Not really," she admitted. Leandro nodded slowly, as if this confirmed something he'd already suspected. He pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, then pocketed it again. "I'm going to have someone check your building," he said. "Make sure he's not waiting there. In the meantime, you stay mobile. I can't just..." "You grabbed my hand." Leandro's voice was calm, implacable. "That means you're in my sphere now, whether you meant to be or not." He started walking toward the car, then paused and looked back. "I don't ask questions you're not ready to answer, Bella. And I don't make promises I can't keep. But I will tell you this. He won't touch you. Not while I'm paying attention." The certainty in his voice was absolute, terrifying, and somehow, the safest thing Bella had heard in 2 years. The coffee shop Leandro chose was still open, despite the late hour, one of those sleek downtown places with floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture that cost more than it looked. Bella sat across from him at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she hadn't asked for, but that had appeared in front of her anyway. The younger driver, whose name she still didn't know, sat 3 tables away with his back to the wall and his eyes on the door. "Watching. Always watching. Your apartment's clear," Leandro said, setting his phone face down on the table. "No silver Audi in your building's lot or on the surrounding streets. Security footage shows he drove past twice but didn't stop." Bella's shoulders sagged with relief she hadn't realized she was holding. "How did you..." "I made a call." The simplicity of the statement raised more questions than it answered. Bella studied Leandro across the table, trying to reconcile the man who'd stepped between her and danger with the one who could apparently access security footage and deploy people to surveil her building within 30 minutes. "You're not just some guy who happened to be walking past me tonight," she said slowly. Leandro's expression didn't change. "No. What are you then?" He took a sip of his espresso black, no sugar, and set the cup down with deliberate care. "Someone who can help you. If you let me." It wasn't an answer. Bella recognized evasion when she heard it. She'd become an expert at reading between lines during her years with Ruben, but there was a difference between Ruben's evasions designed to confuse, to gaslight, to maintain control through uncertainty in this. Leandro wasn't hiding the truth. He was letting her choose how much she wanted to know. The realization was startling. "Why would you help me?" Bella asked. "You don't know me. Don't owe me anything. True." Leandro leaned back in his chair, the movement casual but his gaze sharp. "But you grabbed my hand. That tells me something about your instincts. And I trust instincts more than I trust explanations." Before Bella could respond, the coffee shop door opened. A couple entered, laughing about something, and moved toward the counter. The barista greeted them with familiar warmth, taking their order without needing to ask for details. But Bella noticed the shift. The barista's eyes had flicked toward their corner table first, just for a second. Just long enough to register Leandro's presence before returning to the customers with practiced professionalism. The younger driver had tensed almost imperceptibly, his hand moving to his jacket before recognizing the newcomers as harmless. And when the couple finally noticed Leandro sitting in the corner, their laughter quieted, not fearfully. More like awareness. The kind of awareness people have when they recognize someone important and don't want to intrude. They collected their drinks and left quickly, their earlier ease replaced by something more subdued. Bella's pulse quickened. "They know you. They know of me," Leandro corrected. "There's a difference." "What's the difference?" Leandro met her gaze steadily. "Knowing someone means understanding who they are. Knowing of someone means understanding what they represent." The careful phrasing sent warning signals through Bella's mind. She'd learned to read power dynamics, to recognize when someone was dangerous not because of what they said, but because of how others responded to them. "What do you represent?" she asked quietly. For the first time since she'd grabbed his hand, Leandro hesitated. Not long, maybe 3 seconds, but enough for Bella to understand that his answer mattered, that he was choosing his words with the same precision he seemed to apply to everything else. "Consequences," he said finally. "For people who cross certain lines." The admission hung between them like smoke. Bella should have been afraid, should have made excuses and left and never looked back. But fear had a specific flavor, and this wasn't it. This was clarity. "You're not a lawyer," she said. "No, not a cop, definitely not." Bella's fingers tightened around her cup. "Ruben runs with people who think they're untouchable. Lawyers, business owners, city council members, men who've built reputations on being respectable. I know the type. He has connections, resources. He's made it very clear that if I ever tried to..." She stopped, her throat constricting around words she'd never spoken aloud. "He knows people, important people." Leandro's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes, something cold and absolute. "So do I," he said quietly. "And my people make his people nervous." The words settled over Bella like a weighted blanket, simultaneously comforting and terrifying. She was beginning to understand that Leandro operated in a world parallel to the one she knew. A world where power wasn't measured in job titles or social status, but in something far more tangible. Influence, control, the ability to make things happen or not happen through channels that didn't appear on any organizational chart. "What's your last name?" Bella asked suddenly. Leandro studied her for a moment, as if deciding whether she was ready for the answer. "Borrego," he said. The name meant nothing to Bella. She waited for recognition that didn't come, for some reference point that would help her understand. Leandro seemed to read her confusion, and the corner of his mouth lifted slightly. "You'll hear it again," he said. "Probably soon. When you do, you'll understand why people look at me the way they do. And what will I understand?" Leandro leaned forward, his forearms resting on the table. When he spoke, his voice was low enough that only Bella could hear. "That when I told you he won't touch you, I wasn't making a promise. I was stating a fact." Bella's breath caught. There was no bravado in Leandro's tone, no posturing or masculine ego, just certainty, the kind of certainty that came from having enforced similar boundaries before. "You barely know me," she whispered. "I know you grabbed my hand instead of running. I know you're still sitting here asking questions instead of pretending everything's fine. And I know that takes more courage than most people have." He stood, extending his hand toward her. "Come on," I'll take you home. My driver will stay outside your building tonight. Tomorrow, we talk about next steps." Bella looked at his offered hand, steady, scarred across the knuckles, decorated with ink that told stories she couldn't yet read. She took it, and somewhere across the city, she knew Ruben was making calculations of his own. Bella didn't sleep. She lay in her bed with the security system armed and the bedroom door locked, listening to every creak and whisper of her apartment building. The familiar sounds pipes settling, neighbors moving around upstairs. The distant hum of traffic had become sinister months ago, transformed by hypervigilance into potential threats. But tonight felt different. Through her bedroom window, she could see the street below. A black sedan sat 3 cars down from her building's entrance, engine off, windows dark. Leandro's driver, keeping watch the way Leandro had promised he would. The presence should have felt intrusive. Instead, it felt like the first full breath she'd taken in months. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Still awake? Bella stared at the message, her heart rate spiking before logic caught up. Ruben would never ask. He'd show up, make his presence known through proximity rather than courtesy. "Who is this?" she typed back. "Leandro." Couldn't sleep either. Something in Bella's chest loosened. She sat up against her headboard, pulling her knees to her chest. "How did you get my number?" "You filled out a contact card at the fundraiser." "I know people." "Of course he did." Bella found herself almost smiling despite the circumstances. "Your driver's still outside. He'll be there until sunrise. Then someone else takes over." Bella's fingers hovered over the keyboard. The rational part of her brain, the part that had learned to question everything during her years with Ruben, was screaming warnings. This was too much, too fast. Leandro's protection felt suspiciously like another cage, just with better locks. But there was a difference. She could feel it even if she couldn't articulate it yet. "You don't have to do this," she typed. "I know. Then why?" The response took longer this time. Bella watched the 3 dots appear and disappear twice before Leandro's message came through. "Because I've seen what happens when no one does." Morning arrived with gray light and the smell of coffee from the shop downstairs. Bella showered, changed into jeans and a sweater, and forced herself to eat toast she didn't taste. Normal routines. Normal movements. As if her life hadn't fundamentally shifted in the span of 12 hours. Her phone buzzed again at 8:47 a.m., but this time, the message made her blood run cold. "We should talk, Belle. I miss you." Ruben, using the nickname he knew she hated, the one that made her feel small and possessed. Another message followed immediately. "Saw you got a ride last night. New friend?" Bella's hands trembled. He'd been watching, tracking her movements even after Leandro's intervention. The surveillance hadn't stopped. It had just recalibrated. "Leave me alone, Ruben." She typed it, knowing it wouldn't work. Knowing engagement was exactly what he wanted. But silence felt like surrender, and she was done surrendering. "Can't do that. You know how I feel about you. What we had was special. You're making this harder than it needs to be." The messages came rapid fire, each one a small incision designed to make her doubt herself. Special. As if psychological torment was romance. As if monitoring her life was devotion. Bella's finger hovered over the block button. She'd blocked him before. He always found new numbers, new ways to reach her. Blocking was temporary relief, followed by the anxiety of not knowing when he'd reappear. Her phone rang. Unknown number, but not the one Leandro had texted from. She answered cautiously. "Hello? It's me." Leandro's voice, calm and controlled. "My driver just reported activity. Silver Audi circled your block twice in the last 15 minutes. That your ex?" Bella's stomach dropped. "He's texting me. Right now. What's he saying?" She read him the messages, her voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. Leandro was quiet for a moment, and Bella could almost hear him thinking. "Send me screenshots," he said. "Every message he's sent you in the last 6 months. Texts, emails, social media, everything. Why? Because documentation matters. And because I want to know exactly who I'm dealing with." There was something in Leandro's tone, something hard and purposeful that made Bella's pulse quicken for a different reason. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "What I told you I'd do. Make sure he doesn't touch you. Leandro, I'm sending a car. 20 minutes. Pack a bag." Bella's chest tightened. "I can't just leave. I have work. I have—" "Ruben's escalating," Leandro interrupted, his voice firm but not unkind. "The texts, the surveillance, circling your building. This is the pattern, Bella. You've seen it before. He was right. She had seen it. The way Ruben's attention intensified when she tried to establish distance. The way his control tightened in response to her attempts at autonomy. "Where would I go?" she whispered. "Somewhere he can't follow. Somewhere I have better visibility." A pause. "I'm not asking you to trust me completely. I'm asking you to trust your instincts. The same ones that made you grab my hand." Bella closed her eyes. Her apartment, the locks she'd changed, the security system she'd installed, the safe space she'd tried to build suddenly felt like a trap. 4 walls Ruben knew too well. 20 minutes, Leandro repeated. "The car will take you somewhere safe while I handle this." "Handle what?" "A conversation, the kind Ruben understands." The implications settled over Bella like frost. Leandro was going to confront Ruben directly, establish boundaries not through law or restraining orders, which Ruben had already proven meant nothing, but through the kind of power that operated outside official channels. "Don't hurt him," Bella said quickly, then hated herself for the automatic protection of someone who'd never protected her. "I won't." Leandro's voice softened slightly. "Not unless he forces me to. But he needs to understand that you're no longer accessible to him, that there are consequences now." Bella thought of the coffee shop. The way people had responded to Leandro's presence. The weight his name seemed to carry even when unspoken. "What if he doesn't care about consequences?" she asked. "Then he'll learn to." The certainty in those 4 words was absolute, terrifying, and somehow exactly what Bella needed to hear. "Okay," she breathed. 20 minutes. She ended the call and stared at her phone. Ruben's messages were still coming through, each one a small act of intrusion. "You can't ignore me forever. We need to talk face to face. I know you're home." That last message made Bella's skin crawl. She moved to her window and looked down at the street. The black sedan was still there, but now she could see the silver Audi parked 2 blocks down, watching, waiting, always waiting. Bella pulled her suitcase from the closet and started packing. The safe house wasn't what Bella expected. She'd imagined something industrial, concrete walls, minimal furniture, the kind of stripped-down space that screamed temporary shelter. Instead, the car had brought her to a brownstone in a quiet neighborhood 20 minutes from downtown. Tree-lined street, well-maintained buildings, the kind of place where people walked dogs and knew their neighbors' names. The driver who'd finally introduced himself as Isaac carried her suitcase up 3 flights of stairs to an apartment that was clean, furnished, and surprisingly warm. Hardwood floors, soft lighting, a kitchen that actually looked used. "Mr. Borrego owns the building," Isaac explained, setting her bag by the door. "You're the only person on this floor. I'll be downstairs. You need anything, you call this number." He handed her a card with a single phone number printed on it. Nothing else. "How long am I staying here?" Bella asked. Isaac's expression was carefully neutral. "As long as it takes." He left before she could ask what that meant. Bella stood in the middle of the apartment, her phone clutched in her hand, trying to process the surreal shift her life had taken. 48 hours ago, she'd been navigating her carefully constructed routine work, home, avoiding places Ruben might be. Now she was in a safe house owned by a man whose last name she'd only learned the night before. Her phone buzzed. "Leandro, Isaac got you settled?" "Yes, this is a lot. I know, but you're safe there. Ruben doesn't know about this place. Can't know about it." Bella sank onto the couch, exhaustion finally catching up with her. "Did you talk to him?" The 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, appeared again. Finally, Leandro's response came through. "Not yet. Soon. There's something you need to understand first." "What?" "The way I operate. The rules I follow." Before Bella could respond, her phone rang. Leandro's voice was calm when she answered, but she could hear traffic in the background. He was moving, heading somewhere. "I need you to listen carefully," he said. "No interruptions. Can you do that?" Bella's throat tightened. "Yes. I'm not a good man, Bella. I don't pretend to be. The things I do, the world I operate in, it's built on violence and leverage and fear. I've made peace with that because the alternative is chaos, and chaos gets innocent people hurt." He paused, and Bella heard a car door close. The background noise disappeared. "But I have rules," Leandro continued. "Lines I don't cross. Ever. And the first rule is this. I don't exploit vulnerability. Not in women, not in children, not in anyone who can't defend themselves." Bella's pulse hammered. "Okay. The second rule. I don't take what isn't freely given. That includes trust, loyalty, and access to someone's life. You grabbed my hand in public. You got in my car. You're in this apartment, but none of that means you owe me anything. You understand? Yes. Third rule. I don't lie about who I am or what I'm capable of, so I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen next, and you're going to decide if you can live with it. Bella's hands trembled. I'm listening. I'm going to have a conversation with Ruben, not in public, somewhere private where we can speak plainly. I'm going to explain that you're no longer accessible to him, that continuing to contact you, follow you, or monitor your life will have consequences he won't enjoy. What kind of consequences? The kind that don't involve police or lawyers or restraining orders that he's already proven he doesn't respect. Leandro's voice was matter of fact. I'm going to make it clear that every text, every drive past your building, every attempt to re-establish contact will cost him something. Money first, then reputation, then things he values more than either. Bella's breath caught. You're going to threaten him. I'm going to promise him. There's a difference. Threats are about what might happen. Promises are about what will. The distinction made Bella's skin prickle. This was the reality of Leandro's world, not the performative aggression Ruben specialized in, but calculated certainty backed by resources she couldn't see but could feel. What if he doesn't believe you? She asked quietly. Then he'll test me. Once. And after that he'll believe. There was no bravado in Leandro's voice. No masculine posturing. Just the flat certainty of someone who'd enforced similar boundaries before and knew exactly how the pattern would play out. I don't want you to hurt him, Bella said. The words automatic, even as part of her recoiled at her own impulse to protect someone who'd never protected her. I won't. Not unless he escalates beyond conversation. But Bella, Leandro's voice softened slightly. You need to understand something. Men like Ruben don't respond to kindness or reason or legal boundaries. They respond to power. To consequences they can't manipulate or charm their way out of. I know. Bella's voice cracked. I've tried everything else. I know you have. And that's why I'm offering you this. Not because you're weak, not because you need saving, but because sometimes the only way to stop a predator is to introduce a bigger predator into the equation. The words settled over Bella like a weighted blanket, simultaneously comforting and terrifying. She'd spent 2 years trying to handle Ruben through official channels, through de-escalation, through simply trying to disappear. None of it had worked. What do you get out of this? She asked. Out of helping me? Leandro was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried something she hadn't heard before. Not quite vulnerability, but close. Peace of mind, he said. Knowing that someone who grabbed my hand in desperation isn't going to end up as another statistic. Another woman who tried everything right and still got hurt because the system failed her. You've seen that before. Too many times. Bella closed her eyes, tears burning behind her lids. There was something in Leandro's tone, something personal and painful that told her this wasn't theoretical for him. That somewhere in his past, someone had needed help that didn't come in time. Okay, she whispered. Do what you need to do. You're sure? No. But I'm more sure of this than I am of anything else. She heard Leandro exhale slowly. I'll call you when it's done. Stay in the apartment. Don't answer the door for anyone except Isaac. Don't post on social media. Don't tell anyone where you are. I understand. Good. A pause. Bella? Yeah? You made the right choice. Grabbing my hand, getting in the car, all of it. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you did. The call ended before Bella could respond. She sat in the quiet apartment, her phone warm in her hand, and waited for the world to shift again. 3 hours passed in suffocating silence. Bella tried to distract herself, unpacked her suitcase, made tea she didn't drink, scrolled through her phone without seeing anything. But her mind kept circling back to the same questions. Where was Leandro? Had he found Ruben? What was happening in that private conversation that would determine the shape of her immediate future? At 2:47 p.m., her phone rang. Not Leandro. A number she didn't recognize. She let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, a text from the same number. This is Patricia Kim from Westside Legal Aid. I'm trying to reach Bella Simon regarding her consultation request from last month. Please call back at your earliest convenience. Bella's stomach nodded. She'd contacted legal aid 6 weeks ago, trying to explore options for a restraining order that might actually stick. The consultation had gone nowhere. Ruben was too careful, too strategic. Nothing he did crossed the legal threshold from concerning to actionable. She deleted the message and blocked the number. Her phone buzzed again immediately. This time, Leandro, are you watching the news? Bella's pulse spiked. No. Why? Turn on Channel 7. Local news segment. She found the remote and switched on the television mounted above the unused fireplace. Channel 7 was in the middle of a breaking news report, the anchor's expression grave as crime scene footage played behind her. Federal investigation into money laundering and racketeering involving several prominent local businesses. The U.S. Attorney's Office executed search warrants at 4 locations this morning, including the downtown offices of Meridian Holdings and 2 associated properties. Bella's breath caught. Meridian Holdings. That was one of Ruben's clients. He'd mentioned the account dozens of times, bragging about landing such a prestigious portfolio. The footage shifted to show federal agents carrying boxes from a sleek glass building Bella recognized. The anchor continued. Sources say the investigation has been ongoing for 18 months and involves a complex network of shell companies and offshore accounts. No arrests have been made yet, but prosecutors say charges are imminent. The screen cut to a press conference. A woman in a dark suit stood behind a podium flanked by FBI logos. This investigation represents a coordinated effort to dismantle organized criminal enterprises operating in our city, she said. We're targeting the infrastructure that allows these networks to function: the financial facilitators, the legitimate businesses that provide cover, and the professionals who enable these operations. Bella's phone buzzed. Still watching? Yes. What does this have to do with Ruben? Everything. Keep watching. The news segment continued. The anchor was speaking again. Among the businesses being investigated is Bruno Financial Consulting, a boutique firm specializing in high net worth clients. The firm's owner, Ruben Bruno, could not be reached for comment. Bella's vision blurred. She rewound the segment, listening again to make sure she'd heard correctly. Bruno Financial Consulting, Ruben's firm, under federal investigation. Her hands shook as she typed. Did you do this? Leandro's response came quickly. No, this has been building for over a year, but I knew about it. How? Because the people investigating Meridian are also investigating other things. Bigger things. Things that intersect with my world. Bella stared at her phone, trying to process the implications. Leandro had known Ruben was vulnerable, had known there was federal attention on his business, his clients, his carefully constructed professional life. You could have told me, she typed. I just did. The timing matters. Another message followed. Ruben's world is about to get very complicated. Federal investigations mean audits, depositions, asset freezes. He's going to be too busy protecting himself to focus on you. Bella's throat tightened. The news was still playing more footage of federal agents, more statements from prosecutors, more speculation about the scope of the investigation. This is why you waited, she typed slowly. Why you didn't confront him immediately, partly. I needed to understand the full picture first. And now you do? Now I know exactly where the pressure points are. Bella set her phone down, her mind racing. Leandro hadn't just offered her protection, he'd been gathering intelligence, mapping the landscape of threats and vulnerabilities, identifying leverage points she couldn't see. This wasn't impulse. It was strategy. Her phone rang. Leandro, not texting this time. The investigation is real, he said when she answered. I didn't manufacture it, but I did make sure certain information reached the right people at the right time. What information? Details about transactions Ruben thought were buried. Connections between his clients and entities the feds were already monitoring. Nothing fabricated, just illuminated. Bella's pulse hammered. You accelerated their timeline. I created urgency. There's a difference. Leandro's voice was calm, clinical. The investigation was going to happen regardless. I just made sure it happened now, when it could be useful. Useful for what? For making Ruben understand that he has bigger problems than you, that continuing to harass you while federal prosecutors are examining his entire professional life is a distraction he can't afford. The calculation was staggering. Leandro hadn't threatened Ruben with violence or intimidation, he'd threatened him with exposure, with the collapse of the carefully maintained facade that men like Ruben built their identities on. What happens now? Bella asked quietly. Now, Ruben makes choices. He can cooperate with investigators and maybe minimize the damage, or he can fight it and watch his life unravel piece by piece. Either way, he won't have time or resources to focus on you. And if he tries anyway, then he proves he's reckless, as well as obsessive, and reckless people make mistakes that are easier to exploit. Bella closed her eyes. Part of her felt relief the crushing weight of Ruben's attention might finally be lifting, but another part felt something darker. Satisfaction, maybe, or justice of a kind the legal system had never provided. You didn't just protect me, she said slowly. You went to war. No. Leandro's voice was firm. I redirected an existing war so it served a useful purpose. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Because I'm not destroying Ruben for you, Bella. I'm creating conditions where he destroys himself. All I did was make sure the truth found the right audience. The distinction felt thin, but Bella understood the logic. Leandro operated in a world where power wasn't about direct confrontation. It was about information, timing, and understanding how systems could be leveraged. When do I get to leave here? She asked. Few more days. Let the investigation dominate the news cycle. Let Ruben's world catch fire. Then we reassess. And then you decide what kind of life you want to build, with or without my involvement. The offer hung between them, genuine autonomy wrapped in temporary protection. Okay, Bella whispered. Get some rest. This is just beginning. The call ended. Bella sat in the quiet apartment, watching news coverage of Ruben's collapsing world, and felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Hope. 5 days. That's how long Bella stayed in the safe house, watching Ruben's world disintegrate through news coverage and Leandro's carefully curated updates. Federal investigators had seized financial records. Clients were jumping ship. Ruben's face appeared on local news segments, looking progressively more haggard with each appearance. And through it all, the texts kept coming, not as frequently, not with the same confidence. But they came. This is all a misunderstanding. I need to talk to you. You're the only one who understands. Please, Belle. I'm losing everything. Each message was a small act of audacity, proof that even with his professional life imploding, Ruben still believed he had claim to Bella's attention. Still thought he could draw her back into his orbit through manufactured crisis. On the 6th morning, Leandro called. Time to go home, he said without preamble. Isaac will drive you. Your apartment's been swept, new locks installed, security system upgraded. There's also a panic button by your bed that connects directly to my people. Bella's stomach nodded. You think I still need that? I think preparation prevents problems. A pause. Ruben's been quiet for 48 hours. No drive-bys. No surveillance we can detect. The investigation has him pinned down. But men like him don't disappear gracefully. Meaning he might make one last desperate play before reality fully sets in. I want you protected if he does. The words settled over Bella like frost. She'd been in this protective bubble for nearly a week, insulated from immediate danger. The thought of returning to her normal life, even with upgraded security, made her chest tighten. What kind of play? She asked quietly. The kind where he shows up unannounced, makes a scene, tries to force a confrontation that puts you in a position where you have to respond. Bella closed her eyes. She knew that pattern. Had lived through variations of it during their relationship. Ruben creating situations where she had to engage with him, where silence or avoidance made her look unreasonable. When should I expect it? If it happens, it'll be soon. Tonight, maybe tomorrow. He knows his window is closing. Isaac drove her home in mid-afternoon, the city looking strangely normal after days of isolation. Traffic, pedestrians, the ordinary chaos of downtown life. Bella watched it all through tinted windows, feeling disconnected from the world she was returning to. Her apartment felt different with the new locks, the upgraded security panel, the small panic button mounted discreetly beside her bed, evidence of Leandro's reach, his resources, his determination to create safety through infrastructure. She unpacked slowly, trying to re-establish routine. Laundry, dishes, emails she'd been ignoring, normal tasks that felt surreal after everything that had shifted. At 6:15 p.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. I'm outside. We need to talk. Face to face. Like adults. Bella's blood ran cold. She moved to her window and looked down at the street. Ruben's silver Audi was parked directly in front of her building. Her hands shook as she typed back. No. Leave. The response was immediate. I'm not leaving until you come down. 5 minutes, Bella. That's all I'm asking. After everything we had, you owe me that much. The manipulation was textbook, framing his demands as reasonable requests, positioning her refusal as unreasonable or cruel, making his persistence seem like devotion rather than violation. Bella's finger hovered over the panic button, but something stopped her. Some part of her that was tired of running, tired of letting fear dictate her choices, tired of needing others to fight battles she should be able to fight herself. She grabbed her phone and called Leandro. He answered on the first ring. What happened? Ruben's outside my building, demanding I come down and talk to him. Don't. Leandro's voice was sharp. Stay inside. I'm 15 minutes away. He says he won't leave until I do. He's lying. He'll leave when he gets bored or when someone makes him. Let me handle it. Bella's chest tightened. I'm tired of hiding from him. This isn't hiding. This is strategic distance from someone who's unstable and desperate. He's going to keep doing this, Leandro. Keep showing up. Keep demanding. Keep... Not after tonight, he won't. The certainty in Leandro's voice should have been comforting. Instead, it crystallized something Bella had been avoiding. She was trading one form of dependence for another. Ruben's control for Leandro's protection. Different in quality, different in intent, but structurally similar. I need to do this myself, she said quietly. Bella, I'm going down there. I'm telling him to leave. And if he doesn't, then you can intervene. But I need to try first. Silence on the other end. Bella could almost hear Leandro, calculating, weighing risks against autonomy, protection against agency. Okay, he said finally. But Isaac is in the lobby. You go outside, he goes with you. And I'm pulling up in 12 minutes. This conversation ends when I arrive, regardless of what Ruben wants. Deal. Bella hung up before she could second-guess herself. She grabbed her keys, checked her reflection in the mirror, steady despite the adrenaline, and headed downstairs. Isaac was waiting by the entrance, his expression neutral, but his posture alert. He didn't try to stop her when she pushed through the door, just fell into step 3 feet behind her, a silent presence that managed to be both respectful and protective. Ruben was leaning against his car, arms crossed, that familiar expression of patient suffering on his face. The one that said, "Look what you're making me do." When he saw Bella emerge, his expression shifted relief, possessiveness, vindication, all flickering across his features. "Finally," he said, pushing off the car. "I was starting to think you'd forgotten basic courtesy." Bella stopped 10 feet away, Isaac a steady presence just behind her left shoulder. "You need to leave, Ruben. We need to talk. About what's happening, about..." "No, we don't. There's nothing to talk about." Ruben's jaw tightened. "Don't be childish, Belle. After 2 years together, I deserve more than being ghosted while my life falls apart. You deserve exactly what you're getting. Consequences for choices you made. Choices." His voice rose. "You think I chose to have federal investigators destroy my business? You think I think you built a life on deception, and it caught up with you. That's not my problem." Ruben's expression darkened. He took a step forward. Isaac shifted almost imperceptibly, and Ruben's eyes flicked to him for the first time, registering the silent threat. "Who the hell is this?" Ruben demanded. "Someone who's making sure this conversation stays civil." "Civil?" Ruben's laugh was bitter. "You're bringing muscle to intimidate me? After everything I've done for you? You've done nothing for me except make me afraid to live my own life." "That's not..." Ruben stopped, his hands clenching into fists. "You're being manipulated, Bella. By whoever's put these ideas in your head. By whoever's turning you against me. No one turned me against you, Ruben. You did that yourself." Headlights swept across the street. A black car pulled up behind Ruben's Audi, smooth, deliberate, blocking him in. Leandro stepped out. Ruben's face went pale. Bella watched the transformation happen in real time, the confident aggression draining away as Leandro approached with measured, unhurried steps. There was no urgency in his movement, no visible threat, just presence. The kind that made the air feel heavier. "You should leave," Leandro said to Ruben, his voice conversational. Ruben straightened, trying to reclaim some authority. "This is a private conversation, between me and Bella." "No." Leandro stopped 5 feet away, his hands relaxed at his sides. "This is you harassing someone who's asked you multiple times to stay away. There's a difference. I don't know who you think you are." "Leandro Borrego." He said it simply, letting the name do its work. Bella saw recognition flicker across Ruben's face. Not immediate, but building. The kind of recognition that came from whispered warnings, from knowing just enough about the city's power structures to understand when you'd wandered into dangerous territory. "I don't care who you are," Ruben said, but his voice had lost its edge. "Bella and I have history. You can't just..." "I can. And I am." Leandro's tone remained calm. "Here's what happens next. You get in your car. You drive away. You delete Bella's number, her address, every point of contact you have, and you never approach her again." Ruben's hands clenched. "You can't tell me?" "I'm not telling you. I'm explaining reality." Leandro took one step closer. You're under federal investigation. Your business is collapsing. Your reputation is being dismantled piece by piece. The last thing you need is additional problems. Are you threatening me? I'm clarifying consequences. Every text you send Bella, every time you drive past her building, every attempt to force contact, those are choices that carry costs. Right now, those costs are manageable. Escalate, and they stop being manageable. Bella watched Ruben's expression shift from defiance to calculation. He was measuring risks, trying to determine if Leandro's words were bluff or promise. I haven't done anything illegal, Ruben said carefully. Yet, Leandro agreed, and keeping it that way requires making smart decisions. Starting now, the silence stretched. Traffic noise filled the space, distant horns, the hum of the city, ordinary sounds that felt surreal against the tension crackling between the two men. This isn't over, Ruben said finally, looking past Leandro to Bella. We have unfinished business. No, Bella said, her voice steady. We don't. We're done, Ruben. Completely. Something in Ruben's expression cracked. Not into rage, but something worse, desperate need poorly masked as righteousness. You don't mean that. You're confused. You're being influenced. I mean it. Bella took a step forward, and Isaac moved with her like a shadow. I meant it 2 years ago when I left. I meant it every time I blocked your number. I meant it every time I changed my routine to avoid you. I'm done being afraid of you. I never made you afraid, Ruben protested. I loved you. No. You controlled me. You monitored me. You made me doubt my own reality. That's not love. Ruben's jaw worked. His eyes darted between Bella and Leandro, looking for an opening, some angle he could exploit. Finding none. Get in your car, Leandro said quietly. Last time I asked nicely. The threat beneath the words was unmistakable. Ruben heard it. His hands unclenched slowly, and he took a step back toward his Audi. You'll regret this, he said to Bella, trying to salvage some dignity from his retreat. I already regret wasting 2 years on you, she replied. But that ends tonight. Ruben got in his car without another word. The engine started, and he pulled away from the curb with more speed than necessary, tires squealing slightly as he accelerated down the street. Bella watched until his taillights disappeared around a corner. Then her knees went weak. Isaac was there immediately, his hand steadying her elbow. Leandro moved closer but didn't touch her, giving her space to process what had just happened. You did well, he said quietly. Bella laughed sharp, almost hysterical. I was terrified. I know. You did it anyway. That's what counts. She looked up at Leandro, seeing him clearly in the streetlight. His expression was serious but not cold, assessing but not judging. Will he come back? She asked. Probably not. But if he does, he knows what happens. Leandro glanced at Isaac. Stay close tonight. Visible presence. Isaac nodded and moved toward the building entrance, taking up a position where he could monitor the street. Leandro turned back to Bella. We should talk. Not out here. They went to her apartment. Bella made tea she didn't want, while Leandro stood by the window, checking sightlines and security the way someone else might check their phone. Always assessing. Always aware. You said you'd explain what happens next, Bella said, setting 2 mugs on the coffee table. Leandro sat across from her, his posture relaxed but his attention absolute. I did, and I will. But first, I need you to understand something. What? The world I operate in, it's not clean. It's not legal in ways that matter to most people. The protection I can offer you comes with proximity to things you might not want to be near. Bella wrapped her hands around her mug. Like what? Like knowing that when I say consequences, I mean things that happen in shadows. Like understanding that the reason Ruben backed down isn't because he's rational, it's because people told him stories about what happens when someone crosses me. What kind of stories? Leandro's expression didn't change. True ones. About people who thought my boundaries were negotiable and learned otherwise. I don't advertise what I do, Bella, but I don't hide it either. Not from people in my sphere. The words settled over Bella like cold water. This was the truth Leandro had promised. Unvarnished. Uncomfortable. Real. Are you asking me if I can live with that? She asked quietly. I'm telling you what staying near me means. What accepting my protection means. You're not obligated to any of it. You can walk away right now, and I'll still make sure Ruben stays gone. But if you choose to stay, if you choose to be part of my world even peripherally, you need to do it with full knowledge. Bella studied him across the coffee table. His dark eyes steady, his posture calm, his honesty brutal and somehow respectful. "What are you offering exactly?" she asked. "Safety without ownership, protection without possession, the freedom to build whatever life you want with the certainty that Ruben can't take it from you. And what do you get?" Leandro was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried something she hadn't heard before, not quite vulnerability, but close. "The knowledge that someone who grabbed my hand in desperation isn't going to become another story about a woman who tried everything right and still got hurt. That matters to me more than you know." Bella felt tears burning behind her eyes. Not from fear or relief, but from something more complicated. Recognition, maybe. Of someone who understood that safety wasn't just about locks and security systems. It was about knowing someone would stand between you and danger without asking for your autonomy in return. "I don't want romance," she said carefully, "or relationship, or anything that looks like what I just escaped. I'm not offering that. Then what is this?" Leandro met her gaze directly. "Alliance. Built on choice and mutual benefit, you get protection and freedom. I get the satisfaction of using my resources for something that matters. That's all? That's everything." Bella set down her mug, her hands steadier than they'd been in weeks. "Okay," she said. "Then I choose to stay." The decision changed something fundamental. Not immediately. Not in ways Bella could articulate in the hours after Leandro left her apartment, with Isaac still stationed outside. But in the days that followed, she felt it a shift in how she moved through the world. For 2 years she'd lived small, carefully, avoiding places Ruben might be, routes he might take, situations where she'd be exposed. Her life had shrunk to accommodate his surveillance, her choices dictated by the need to stay invisible. Now, that was ending. Leandro called the next morning. "There's something you should know. Ruben left the city last night, drove to his parents' house upstate. My sources say he's staying there, while his lawyers try to negotiate with federal prosecutors." Bella's chest loosened. "How long will he be gone?" "Weeks at minimum, possibly longer depending on how the investigation unfolds. But that's not why I'm calling." "Then why?" "Because I want you to live your life. Visibly, publicly. I want Ruben and anyone paying attention to understand that you're not hiding anymore." The suggestion made Bella's pulse quicken. "What does that mean?" "It means go back to your routines. The coffee shop you stopped visiting because Ruben liked it. The gym you quit. The restaurants. The routes. The places you surrendered because he made them uncomfortable. Take them back. What if he won't. But even if he tries, he'll see you're not alone. That there are people watching. That his access is permanently revoked." Bella thought about the places she'd abandoned. Small surrenders that had accumulated into a completely altered life. The yoga studio where she'd felt strong. The bookstore where she'd spent Saturday mornings. The park where she used to run. "I don't know if I can," she admitted. "You stood up to him on the street. You told him it was over to his face. You can do this. That was different. You were there. And people will be there now. Not obviously, not intrusively, but present. You're not alone in this, Bella. Not anymore." The words settled over her like a promise. "Not romantic, not possessive, just certain." "Okay," she said. "I'll try." She started small. The coffee shop 3 blocks from her apartment that she'd stopped visiting 8 months ago when Ruben had started showing up there, coincidentally. Bella walked in mid-morning, her heart hammering, half expecting to see him at a corner table with that familiar, possessive smile. He wasn't there. But Isaac was, sitting near the window with a newspaper, looking like any other customer except for the way his eyes tracked everyone who entered. Bella ordered her usual vanilla latte, no foam, and the barista's face lit up with recognition. "Oh my God, Bella, we haven't seen you in forever. Where have you been?" The genuine warmth in the greeting made Bella's throat tighten. She'd forgotten what it felt like to be missed rather than monitored. "Just busy," she managed. "It's good to be back." She sat at her old table by the window, sunlight streaming across her laptop as she tried to focus on work emails. But mostly, she just absorbed the feeling of being somewhere she'd surrendered, reclaiming it inch by inch. Isaac caught her eye once and nodded slightly, present but not intrusive, a reminder that visibility didn't mean vulnerability anymore. The next day, she went to the yoga studio. The day after that, the bookstore. Each location felt like reclaiming territory she'd ceded to fear, and each time, Bella noticed them Leandro's people, positioned carefully, never obvious but always there. A woman reading near the yoga studio entrance. A man browsing magazines at the bookstore. Different faces, same purpose, protection without possession. On the 4th day, Bella called Leandro. "I want to do something public, something that makes a statement." "What kind of statement?" "That I'm not hiding, that I'm not afraid, that my life belongs to me." Silence on the other end. Then, "What did you have in mind?" "There's a gallery opening downtown Friday night. Modern art exhibit." Ruben hated that kind of thing, said it was pretentious. "I always wanted to go, but he made it difficult." "And now you want to go?" "Yes, but not alone. You want me to come with you." It wasn't a question. Bella took a breath, acknowledging what she was really asking. "I want people to see me with you. I want it to be clear that I'm not isolated anymore, that there are consequences now. For anyone who thinks otherwise." She heard Leandro exhale slowly. "You understand what that means? Being seen publicly with me?" "I think so. It means people will make assumptions about our relationship, about what you mean to me, about why I'm protecting you. Some of those assumptions will be wrong, but they'll still stick." "I know." Bella's voice was steady. "But I'd rather people make wrong assumptions about my strength than right assumptions about my vulnerability." The logic was clean, strategic, exactly the kind of calculation Leandro would make. "Okay," he said finally. "Friday night. I'll pick you up at 7. Friday arrived with clear skies, and Bella's nerves stretched thin. She chose her outfit carefully, a black dress that made her feel strong rather than exposed, heels that added height without sacrificing stability, armor disguised as elegance. Leandro arrived exactly at 7 in a dark suit that looked custom-made, his presence commanding even in the simple act of offering his hand to help her into the car. "You look nervous," he observed as they pulled away from her building. "I am nervous." "Good. Means you understand the stakes. Is that supposed to be comforting?" "It's supposed to be honest." He glanced at her. "You're about to walk into a room full of people who will notice us together, who will talk, who will draw conclusions. If you want to change your mind, now's the time." Bella looked out the window at the city sliding past lights and movement and life happening everywhere around them. For 2 years, she'd watched that life from the margins, too afraid to participate fully. "Not anymore. I'm not changing my mind," she said. The gallery was packed when they arrived. Bella recognized faces from the fundraiser circuit, from downtown social events she'd attended alone, and left early from to avoid Ruben's inevitable appearance. But walking in beside Leandro was different. Conversations paused mid-sentence. Eyes tracked their progress across the polished floor. Bella felt the attention like a physical weight, curious, assessing, recalibrating. Leandro's hand found the small of her back, not possessive but anchoring, guiding her through the crowd with the kind of natural authority that made people step aside without realizing they were doing it. "They're staring," Bella murmured. "Let them." They stopped in front of a massive abstract canvas, swirls of color that suggested chaos contained. Leandro studied it with genuine interest while Bella tried to slow her racing heart. "You're doing fine," he said quietly, his eyes still on the painting. "I feel like everyone's watching us." "They are. That's the point." He turned slightly, his dark eyes meeting hers. "You're not hiding anymore, Bella. This is what that looks like." A woman approached mid-50s, expensive jewelry, the kind of social confidence that came from years of navigating elite circles. "Leandro," she said warmly. "I didn't expect to see you here. Mrs. Castellano. Always a pleasure." He gestured to Bella. "This is Bella Simon." The woman's eyes sharpened with interest as she extended her hand. "Lovely to meet you, dear. Any friend of Leandro's is always welcome in our circles." The phrasing was deliberate. "Our circles." An invitation wrapped in assumption. They spent an hour at the gallery, moving through rooms while Bella slowly relaxed into the reality of being visible, being seen, being part of the world again on her own terms. When they finally left, stepping into cool night air, Bella felt something shift inside her chest. Not quite freedom that would take time, but possibility, the sense that her life could expand again into space she'd surrendered. "Thank you," she said as Leandro opened the car door. "For what?" "For standing beside me, for making it clear I'm not alone." Leandro's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "You were never as alone as you felt. You just needed to see it." They drove through the city in comfortable silence, and Bella watched lights blur past the window, thinking about choices and consequences and the strange path that had led from grabbing a stranger's hand to reclaiming her life piece by piece. The city looked different at night from Leandro's car, softer somehow, the harsh edges blurred by speed and darkness. Bella watched the familiar streets slide past, feeling the gallery night still humming under her skin. The attention, the visibility, the deliberate claiming of space she'd surrendered. "You're quiet," Leandro observed. "Just thinking." "About?" Bella turned from the window to look at him. In profile, illuminated by passing streetlights, Leandro looked exactly like what he was: dangerous, controlled, certain. But there was something else too. Something she was only beginning to understand. "About how different this feels from 2 years ago," she said. "When I left Ruben, I thought freedom meant being invisible, staying small, not drawing attention. And now? Now I'm realizing freedom means choosing when to be visible, on my terms, not someone else's." Leandro nodded slowly. "That's the difference between hiding and strategy. One is reactive, defensive. The other is deliberate." The car turned onto Bella's street. Isaac's vehicle was already there, parked in his usual spot with clear sight lines to her building entrance. "He's still watching," Bella noted. "He will be for a while longer, until we're certain Ruben has accepted reality. And if he doesn't?" Leandro's expression hardened almost imperceptibly. "Then reality gets reinforced, more directly." The promise in those words should have frightened Bella. Instead, it felt like certainty, like boundaries that would actually hold because they were backed by more than hope or legal documents. The car stopped in front of her building. Leandro got out and came around to open her door, not chivalry exactly, but courtesy mixed with the instinct to maintain awareness. His eyes scanned the street, the shadows, the spaces where threats might hide, always assessing, always aware. "Walk you up?" he asked. Bella nodded. They rode the elevator in silence. The hallway leading to her apartment was empty, quiet, the kind of late-night stillness that used to make Bella's pulse spike. Now, with Leandro beside her, it felt merely peaceful. She unlocked her door and paused on the threshold. "Do you want to come in? Just for a minute?" Leandro studied her carefully. "You sure?" "I'm sure." He followed her inside, and Bella was suddenly conscious of how personal the space was. Her books, her photos, the accumulated details of a life she'd built after leaving Ruben, vulnerable in ways the gallery had not been. "Coffee?" she offered. "Sure." While Bella made coffee she actually wanted this time, Leandro examined her bookshelf with genuine interest. "You like crime fiction," he noted. "I like stories where justice actually happens, even if it's fictional." "You think justice is fictional?" Bella handed him a mug. "I think the legal kind is unreliable. The real kind requires different tools, like the tools I use." "Yes." They sat on opposite ends of her couch, the space between them deliberate. Not intimate, but not distant either. Alliance, Leandro had called it. This felt like what that looked like. "Can I ask you something?" Bella said after a moment. "Always." "Why do you do this? Not just for me, I know you said something about peace of mind. But why this life? This work? You could do anything." Leandro was quiet for a long time, his coffee mug held loosely in scarred hands. When he spoke, his voice carried something unguarded. "Because the world operates on power. That's not good or bad, it just is. And when power exists, it concentrates in people who know how to use it. Most of those people use it for themselves, for profit, control, ego." He paused, his dark eyes distant. "I watched someone I cared about get destroyed by that kind of power. Someone who tried to do everything right, report abuse, get restraining orders, trust the system. The system failed, and the person with power won because winning is what they do." Bella's throat tightened. "What happened to them?" "They didn't survive it." Leandro's voice was flat, factual, and I decided that if I was going to exist in a world built on power, I'd use mine for something other than self-interest. I'd use it to create consequences for people who think vulnerability means permission. The confession settled between them like a shared wound. Bella understood now why Leandro had helped her without hesitation, why protection mattered to him in ways that transcended strategy or obligation. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "Don't be. It made me who I am, and who I am just happened to be standing on a street corner when you grabbed my hand." Bella smiled despite the heaviness in her chest. "Lucky timing. Or good instincts." Leandro set down his mug. "You chose well, Bella. Even in panic, even in fear. You chose someone who could actually help. That says something about your survival skills. Or desperation. Desperation with good judgment is still judgment." They sat in comfortable silence, the kind that came from shared understanding rather than running out of things to say. Outside, the city continued its endless motion, traffic, voices, life happening in countless variations. What happens now? Bella asked finally. Now you keep living. Keep reclaiming space. Keep building the life you want. And you? Leandro's expression was unreadable. I keep making sure you can do that safely, for as long as it takes. And then you won't need me anymore. And that'll be fine. Bella studied him, seeing past the controlled exterior to something more complicated underneath. Leandro meant what he said. He wasn't trying to make himself indispensable or create dependence. But there was also something else. Some small part of him that might actually want to be needed, even as he actively worked to make himself unnecessary. What if I still want you around? She asked. When Ruben's completely gone and I don't need protection, what if I want to keep this? She gestured between them. Whatever this is, Leandro's eyes met hers directly. Then we figure out what it becomes, when it's not built on crisis. And what could it become? I don't know. Partnership, maybe. Two people who understand power and consequences helping each other navigate a complicated world. He paused. But that's future tense. Right now, focus on building yourself back. The rest will sort itself out. The answer was honest, careful, leaving space for possibility without promising anything specific. Bella appreciated that more than reassurance would have meant. Leandro stood, reading her exhaustion even as she tried to hide it. Get some rest. Tomorrow, keep doing what you did tonight. Be visible, be present, show the world who you're choosing to be. Okay. At the door, he paused. You did well tonight, Bella. At the gallery, on the street last week, all of it. You're stronger than you think, or I have better backup. Both can be true. He left, and Bella locked the door behind him. The new locks Leandro had installed, the upgraded security system, all the infrastructure of safety. But as she got ready for bed, she realized the most important thing wasn't external, it was internal. The knowledge that she could stand in a crowded room beside someone powerful and not feel owned, could reclaim public space without feeling exposed, could make choices about visibility and vulnerability on her own terms. Ruben had tried to make her small. Leandro had helped her remember she never was. Bella climbed into bed and, for the first time in 2 years, fell asleep without checking the locks 3 times or positioning her phone within immediate reach. She fell asleep feeling safe, not because of locks or security systems or men positioned outside her building, but because she'd finally chosen to stop living in fear of someone who no longer deserved space in her life. And that choice, that deliberate reclaiming of autonomy, made all the difference. Outside, the city continued its endless motion. Isaac kept watch from his car. And somewhere upstate, Ruben Bruno faced consequences that had nothing to do with Bella, and everything to do with choices he'd made long before she grabbed a stranger's hand on a rain-slick street. The story that had begun with panic and desperation had transformed into something else entirely. Not romance, not rescue, but reclamation. And that was exactly what Bella needed it to be. Thanks for staying with this story. Right till the final moment, you're the reason these stories come alive. If you're ready for another powerful journey, just tap the next video on your screen. And before you go, leave a quick comment and rate this story from 1 to 10. I'm excited to see your thoughts and connect with you down there.
Кредиты и так далее настолько загоняют каждого в задницу человека. И об этом на самом деле никто так-то не говорит. Какое количество сейчас, допустим, даже в те же сложные времена такие, когда вот сейчас идет там специальная военная операция, да, где люди вообще умирают, в принципе, за какую-то сумму денег. Ну, то есть, какая мотивация, то есть, у мужика идти, типа, на войну, воевать и, ну, как бы заработать денег? Потому что он вот в обычной жизни не понимает, типа, как реализовать себя. Ну, он понимает, что он может пойти работать на какую-то работу, где зарплаты его все равно не будет хватать. Как бы тут тоже двойственная сторона. Хорошо, когда она есть, плохо, когда ее нету. Да, вот это маленькая даже зарплаты. Но морально-то ты все равно подавлен. Ты понимаешь, да, я там пойду туда, но как бы смысла мне этого не принесет большого. Да, у меня там станет, если я вообще не работаю и буду работать за 50 тысяч, хорошо, что они у меня есть, я смогу там покушать себе купить, но это же дизмораль. Когда ты заходишь в интернет и видишь, как люди там в Дубае летают, покупают себе огромное количество автомобилей какие-то, Ну, много всего такого, что ты за эту зарплату себе никогда в жизни позволить не сможешь. И как человеку оставаться морально типа сильным? Что ему нужно делать? Ну, наверное, во-первых, это, наверное, все от семьи исходит, да? То есть, какая семья у тебя, как она построена. Если ты один живешь, это сложно, да, ты будешь сам себя, но у тебя, опять-таки, возможно, ну, родители, если есть, которые друзья поддержат тебя в какой-то момент, хотя бы просто отвлекут тебя от этих мыслей. А если у тебя, к примеру, там, семья, жена, к примеру, да, есть дети, то тут, наверное, поддержка только от них исходит какая-то. Вот. Чтобы не упиваться в своих мыслях о том, что какая нынче сложная жизнь. И, наверное, других-то вариантов, в принципе-то, и нету. Какие вот еще варианты, в принципе, изменить, поменять свою жизнь настолько, чтобы она была, ну, казалась тебе удачной, да, реализованным себя в жизни, в чем-то. В чем, вот как проявляется на самом деле у нас реализованность? Наверное, у 90% случаев это финансовое благополучие, финансовая независимость. Это, наверное, одно из таких ключевых моментов, когда человек, наверное, считает себя реализованным, да, в этой жизни. То есть, как добиться этого? То есть, с учетом того, что даже возьмем нашу страну, да, сколько миллионов людей здесь живет, как каждому добиться этого результата? Непонятно. И с каждым годом просто ситуация становится все хуже и хуже. Все дорожает, люди зарабатывают либо столько же. Ну, даже если они зарабатывают столько же, на самом деле этого все уже недостаточно. К чему это все приведет на самом деле? В оконцове, наверное, мир погрязнет в большую депрессию, в какую-то. Какие-то войны, возможно, или еще что-то еще больше глобальных таких вещей, которые не приведут ни к чему хорошему на самом деле. Поддержка каждого человека именно для того, чтобы он держался, наверное, морально, заключается в том, что, ну, наверное, дом, в который ты приходишь, должен быть крепостью твоей, да, что это единственное должно быть место, где ты будешь чувствовать себя под защитой. Для этого было придумано, наверное, своя пещера изначально, потом свои какие-то чумы, палатки различные, да, потом все это превратилось. На данный момент это у нас дома, квартиры, в которые мы приходим и должны ощущать себя в безопасности, чтобы можно быть немного морально расслабленным с учетом того, что ты выходишь каждый день на работу, на улицу, и все равно давление вот это вот, оно все равно присутствует. Когда ты заходишь в магазин, видишь цены эти, да, и так далее, не можешь себе что-то там приобрести, позволить на ежедневной основе, это откладывает большой, наверное, отпечаток. Не, наверное, а точно. И поэтому, когда возвращаясь домой, ты чувствуешь, вот хотя бы есть типа уголок того места, куда ты можешь прийти. Уголок на самом деле человеку много тоже не надо. Можно хотеть большего, но на самом деле человеку одному много не надо. Да? Ему нужно спальное место, спокойное место, где можно подумать. Ну, это когда ты один, к примеру, да? Когда у тебя есть семья, к примеру, ты приходишь домой, опять-таки, и тут хотя бы, да, поговорить о каких-то вещах. Просто об отрешенных вещах, наверное. И, возможно, при этих же условиях у тебя и появляется какая-то дополнительная мотивация. Дополнительная мотивация для реализации себя. А когда у тебя нету ничего, вот это уже становится проблемой. И это у многих на самом деле. Что значит не иметь ничего? Тут, наверное, самое главное, дизмораль у человека еще возникает при том, что это уже, наверное, где-то в глубине души даже она возникает при даже хорошей финансовой подушке такой, которая у тебя есть, хороших финансовых деньгах, да, то есть, но нету вот внутреннего ощущения, к примеру, дружбы, семьи, любви и так далее. Это уже отдельно на самом деле разговор, потому что мы, вот, к примеру, можем взять, как сейчас вот Мелстрой, если кто-то смотрит, насколько тяжело обладать такими финансами и не иметь, по сути, ничего. Ни друзей, ничего не иметь. Так главное это получается для бедных главное деньги, для богатых главное какое-то внутреннее ощущение нужности, не из-за денег. Вот такой вот. И это борьба какая-то такая и вот эти два слоя общества, богатые и бедные, они друг друга не понимают. На самом деле из-за этого, возможно. Потому что богатый человек, он уже не смотрит на деньги, он не считает эти деньги. Ему важно внутреннее вот это вот ощущение того, что он нужен без них даже. Это как Тони Старку сказали: а кто ты без костюма? На вот это я филантроп, тудым-сюдым, он сказал, да? Так и человеку, у которого много денег, ты задашь вопрос: а кто ты без денег? Ну, что ты представляешь себе без денег? Вот, и это, наверное, возможно, таких людей богатых, как вот, например, там, Мелстрой, задав ему этот вопрос: а кто ты без денег? Он на него ответить-то и не сможет. Обратная сторона людей бедных, да, вот если мы посмотрим, человеку